Well, very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the County Ground, Northampton, where we are just about ready to get underway in this Vitality T20 County Cup fixture between Northamptonshire and Herefordshire, brought to you live right here on the Northant CCC YouTube channel. Emily Carpenter has got ball in hand from the David Capel end. Here she is ready to bowl the first ball of the game to Lucy Barnett. That first one almost rolls back onto the stumps. Good start there for the left arm seam bowler. Apologies beforehand if we did have a couple of technical gremlins with the sound coming through. Everything does appear to be functioning as intended. So of course today you have got the company of myself, Aaron Viles, and I'm delighted to say that making his debut here in the Northants Combox alongside me is Knuckle Punday. Knuckle, great to have your company, mate, for what should be a great afternoon of cricket here in the East Midlands as Carpenter bowls Barnett. And Northants have struck very early doors. It's a no ball. We've jumped the gun there. So had a couple of the Steelbacks fielders. Good start, though, isn't it, from Emily Carpenter?
Hi, Aaron. Hi, everybody. Lovely to be here down at Northampton. Yeah, lovely delivery. Certainly out of the hand, apart from the front foot less so, but a little bit of swing back into the right-hander. There's a beautiful, beautiful delivery, top of off stump. Let's get that front foot right and we'll be in business.
Well, of course, as a result of that no ball, first runs on the board then for Herefordshire. Take two on that one, and that one has gone through. However, of course, it's a no ball, so that was a free hit. No damage done for the visitors as of yet. Tell you what, Knuckle, you've chosen quite a dramatic start to your Northants commentary career.
I suppose if you are going to bowl a delivery where you can't get a batter out, a middle stump full in swinging Yorker to the right-handers is as good as any.
Carpenter again, dropping that one Yorker length. What is a glorious afternoon here in Northampton. Please do let us know where you are tuning into the stream from. Well, that is, of course, in Northamptonshire, in Herefordshire. We get plenty of international viewers and listeners as well. Let us know where you are catching the action from. This one from Swift, slightly aerial. Still no damage done. A tidy start this from Emily Carpenter. Plenty of action across the T20 County Cup as well, of course, as we'll keep you updated with as best as we can over the duration of today's game. That one goes through. Playing a miss from Swift.
I think that one might have just held its line a little bit. You can see on the previous delivery, tried to play it to mid-wicket. That one again trying to go through the leg side, trying to sort of anticipate the swing, but that one seemed to just keep on going and oh no, you actually swung too much for Alana Swift, the Herefordshire opener, and just narrowly sort of missed leg stump.
It is swinging an awful lot. This could be the first run off the bat. Shy at the non-striker's end. Swift scampers through, and that will be a single to round out what has been a terrifically entertaining first over of the game. Herefordshire 3 without loss after 1.
Good early signs. Again, certainly ball out of hand from Emily Carpenter. Decent bit of carry on what is a freshish, greenish looking pitch, but with a few sort of bare patches. We were seeing the spinners get a little bit of purchase in the warm-ups, but also getting the ball to swing lovely out of the hand into the right-handers.
Really was. I mean, it is one of the calling cards for Emily Carpenter. Of course, with that left arm angle, naturally tailing it back in to the right-handers. Tell you what, as a new ball bowler, the amount of swing on offer there must be very, very promising indeed.
Oh, we saw it on one of those where it actually swung too much. You could almost struggle to control the swing early on.
Here is Ella Phillips for the first time today. That one aerial over the top of mid-on. And this one will go down to the boundary for 4. A lovely shot that from Alana Swift. Herefordshire now 7 without loss.
That's the classic example of hitting the ball where the fielders aren't. The 2 fielders back are at deep square and deep mid-wicket. So it was a pretty simple hit just to loft it over the top of mid-on.
Yeah, controlled that very nicely. Did the Herefordshire opener. How does Phillips respond? Responds well. Dot ball. Of course, for those who are new to the County Cup, it is a T20 format. It involves the Tier 1 sides, Tier 2 sides, and Tier 3. Northamptonshire plying their trade in the second tier. Herefordshire in just their second season as a team, while they play in Tier 3. Plenty of flight on that one from Phillips, and well held by Emma Gibbs, who's standing behind the stumps today. Slight change in the field as well. Of course, that deep backward square has now come to backward square leg, and Gemma Marriott, the captain, down at long on.
Having that long on back just allows Ella Phillips just to toss the ball up a bit more, because from the little we've seen so far, I don't think you want to be dropping short as a spinner with in the power play.
Swift again, looking to put plenty of power on that one, and there you go, right on cue. Knuckle it is. Marriott who does the fielding there. Of course, captaining the side across the 2 T20 competitions this season. Anisha Patel, the skipper for the Metrobank One Day Cup.
See a lot of spinners, even wrist spinners in T20 cricket, really going flat darts. Ella Phillips is not like that. She's definitely trying to get the ball above the batter's eye line.
That one will be taken. Good catch. And Northamptonshire have got their first. Herefordshire 8 for 1 here at the end of the second over. And Ella Phillips, the golden arm for the Steelbacks, has her first of the game. Lucy Barnett, the batter to be dismissed. And that is precisely the start that the home side were after. Barnett, a very, very dangerous batter, involved in and around the Warwickshire Academy and EPP. She will play no further role today.
Just as I was saying that Ella Phillips likes to toss the ball up, she drags one short and gets one caught at the ring at cover. It was probably there to be cut, to be honest. The width was there and there's no one back on the offside. But Barnett was just a little bit early on the shot and ended up sort of skewing it into the cover ring, where it was really nicely taken by Liz Russell at cover point, just sort of sliding and making sure that she got herself behind it. It's one of those catches that you'd be annoyed if you dropped it, but you still have to show, you still have to have the proper technique to be able to take that.
Oh, 100%. It's a good start though, isn't it? I mean, from both of the opening bowlers, really. I know that Carpenter, 3 runs initially from the over, but actually hit the stumps twice. It's just a shame that it was off of a front foot no ball and the subsequent free hit, but the amount of early swing there from the left armer, who of course is still bowling here from the David Capel end. That start from Phillips as well really is an out-and-out wicket taker. Swift just pushes that one forward. As for the number 3 here for Herefordshire, well, that is Mira van der Werf, who is a Netherlands youth international. She's also applied plenty of her trade down in Gloucestershire. Give a shout out to Golden Hill Cricket Club. I know they're absolutely delighted when she got that call up. Just that one again almost sneaks onto the off stump there of Alana Swift.
It's very similar to the first delivery with us. That little bit of extra bounce, plus that angle from the left-hander back into the right-hander, cramping Swift for room, hitting on the thigh pad and nearly sneaking through onto the stumps. And you can see Swift trying to adjust there at the last minute to the leg swing. She's ended up bodily outside leg stump to try and adjust to the fact that the ball's coming out really nicely out of Emily Carpenter's hand.
Yet again, that one challenging the right-hander. Now, it has been a definite adjustment, as you mentioned there, Knuckle. She's making that stride outside of the leg stump, trying to almost find that gap out towards the ground staff shed. So far, though, just hasn't been able to execute the shot as intended. Will it be third time lucky? Won't be on that occasion. Yet another dot ball. Terrific start this from Emily Carpenter. Precisely what her captain would have been looking for. Setting the tone, setting the standard. There's plenty of bowling weapons at Marriott's disposal today, including herself, of course, with the right arm seam. Carpenter makes it 5 dot balls in a row. And this is her second over of the game. Also, for those who may not have seen the draw as well for the T20 County Cup, the winner of this game faces off against the victor of Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire versus Lincolnshire. So we'll let you know the final result from that game at Dunstable a little bit later on. So that one will be scythed away out towards deep square leg. Protection is out there, so that will just remain a single to round out what's been another tremendous over from Emily Carpenter. Just a solitary run scored. Herefordshire 9 for 1 after 3.
And Alana Swift stealing the strike again. Mira van der Werf has now been at the non-striker's end for the entire over since coming in. Swift was looking for that shot for the entire over, that hoik, that help to leg. There was no one out at deep mid-wicket. So I think she was probably trying to get that either over or past the mid-wicket fielder, and there's a huge gap out that way. But again, maybe that just a little bit of extra pace from Carpenter, just forcing her to go square, and another beautiful over. And putting pressure on that Ella Phillips can maybe take advantage of.
Well, here is Phillips right on cue. That one looked to be tickled fine by the aforementioned Swift. Protection is there inside the 25-yard circle. Can Phillips make it 2 wickets in as many overs? That one's slightly uppish. Chip down towards Marriott at long on for 1. In terms of the boundaries as well, Knuckle, I mean, what do you make in terms of the dimensions today? Of course, the boundary rope very much pulled in on what is the leg side here for the right-handers.
And what that's meant is there really isn't a short square boundary. The offside and leg side boundaries, while fairly short, are more or less equidistant, which presumably makes it quite a bit easier to captain spinners and bowl as a spinner. You're not having to protect a 20-yard boundary out to one side.
No, precisely that. I think it's slightly longer just out towards the offside from this Lynn Wilson centre end. That slightly dragged short by Phillips and whisked away by van der Werf for her first run. But completely agree, it does make it a lot easier for the spinners. It's not a case of you have to almost bowl someone from one end and almost be a little bit protective and conservative at the other. So that one is aerial, simple catch, and Northamptonshire have their second. Alana Swift, the latest batter to go, caught by Alicia Presland. Herefordshire now 11 for 2 in this, the fourth over of the game. What a start this has been for the home side.
It's a classic case of almost bowling in partnerships. You can almost give Emily Carpenter an assist for those 2 wickets from Ella Phillips. Not to take away anything from Phillips, because she knows exactly what she's trying to do, and she knew where Swift was trying to hit the ball. They had the mid wicket in much shorter than you would ordinarily. A classic catching short mid wicket for that one that is mistimed, and the pull shot is exactly what happened. But that pressure and that sort of tension in the stroke is very much created by the fact that they weren't able to get Emily Carpenter away at all for 2 overs. And while there is something to be said for, you know, seeing yourself in, it is a T20 game, and you do have to do the bulk of your scoring early on, otherwise you put yourself under huge pressure.
You certainly do. And we'll get the power play comparison a little bit later on in the game, of course. Still plenty of cricket to go in this opening 20 overs, but great start this for Ella Phillips. Of course, Emily Carpenter completely echo that sentiment as well. It's bowling in tandem, and the pressure from the David Capel enders produced the wickets here from the Lynn Wilson centre end.
You wonder if Marriott's going to keep going with Carpenter for a 3rd over up top. Given how well she's bowling, I think it's definitely worth it, especially with the amount of swing that she's getting, because you presumably won't get that much later in the innings with a white ball.
Well, in at 4 here is Tina Goff, German international, former Germany captain as well. Of course, also plays for the MCC as well. And that ends a quite simply superb over from Ella Phillips. Just the 2 runs scored. Of course, the wickets of Alana Swift. Herefordshire are 11 for 2 after 4.
Both bowling terrifically well. Ella Phillips, probably ironically, the wicket that she got, the first ball wicket of the first wicket rather to fall of Lucy Barnett was probably the worst ball she's bowled. That was a proper honest to goodness drag down to an area where she didn't have a fielder. But the rest of her spell so far, the 2 wickets, the 2 overs rather, has been very good. 2 overs, 2 for 7. Emily Carpenter, 2 overs, none for 4, and one of those was a no ball.
Yeah. And you mentioned it, it will be a 3rd for Emily Carpenter. Completely back that decision. Here she is to Van der Werf. It's again looking to whisk it away on the leg side, but can't quite do so.
Throughout the 2 overs and 1 ball that she's bowled, 2 overs and 1 legitimate ball she's bowled, she's essentially taken away the offside as a legitimate scoring option completely. So it's meant that the batters have been completely restricted in terms of they've not been able to free their arms, they've not been able to go inside out or over the top, and you've ended up with essentially you as a fielder and as a fielding captain can kind of predict where the ball's going to go. So superb control with the swinging ball from Emily Carpenter.
Yet again, Van der Werf looking this time. Just tickle that one fine. It's been a challenging start this for Herefordshire, although I do think it's very important to recognise and appreciate this is just the 2nd year that the Bulls have actually had a women's team. So this is history today, actually playing here at what is a first-class ground. Of course, a number of these players' products of Herefordshire cricket clubs as well. Really is a great day for the county and a proud day as well. Of course, last year was a really promising first season. They'll be looking to kick on in 2026. So many people behind the scenes as well, worked tirelessly. So we've got the county to this point. The likes of Sue Watkins, Richard Cox, a brand new head coach as well.
Shot.
That is a wonderful shot, and it'll pick up plenty of pace off those practice pitches. We'll go all the way for 4. Tremendously controlled, wasn't it, by Van der Werf?
Yeah, terrific shot. We've been talking about the fact that Carpenter has basically denied the offside as a scoring option. That was just a little bit wider. That was the first ball that she's bowled, basically, that wasn't either going to hit the stumps or go down the leg side. And Van der Furth stayed on the shot beautifully and cut that away really, really nicely. Terrific shot.
Yeah, nice placement, nice timing. All in all, just a glorious cricket shot on that. How does Carpenter respond? Takes the pace off, and that one again looks to heave it through the leg side. Can't quite do so on that occasion. Yeah, speaking of the new head coach, Richie Harley, he's only 23. Still playing his club cricket for Ombersley in the Birmingham Prem.
I believe he moved to the area to do a degree in cricket coaching and management and has now found himself coaching at a first-class ground.
It's quite the story, isn't it? Van der Werf just plays that one defensively. It's a dot ball to round out the 5th over. Herefordshire 15 for 2.
This is not the way that Chloe Tingle, having won the toss and chosen to bat, would have hoped that things would go. Speaking of Chloe Tingle, her brother Andrew Tingle has joined us on the live stream.
Oh, brilliant.
And has asked for a shout out.
Oh, 100%. Yes, you can, Andrew. Shout out.
Outstanding. We love to see it. We love to see it. Yeah, my sister is playing for Herefordshire. Shout out to Chloe Tingle. Please, yes, Chloe Tingle will be batting at number 9 for Herefordshire. That's certainly how she's carded, continuing her captaincy from last year. Still no bowling change. It's going to still be Ella Phillips bowling from the Lynn Wilson centre end. Another attempted pull that doesn't beat the inner ring. Anisha Patel doing the fielding. I do like an off spinner going through and round, starting over the wicket side, going between the umpire and the stumps. Oh, it's a lovely delivery. It's the first one that we've really seen turn a little bit, just held up and turned and taking that little leading edge. I mean, there are very few off spinners who won't tell you they prefer bowling to left-handers.
Absolutely.
Taking the pace off that, Tina Goff thought about advancing but had to stay in her crease. Phillips dotting up at the start of the over again. Mini misfield from the fielder at mid-on, but there was no thought of a run. Tina Goff hit that essentially straight to the fielder at mid-on. And trying to go down the ground because there is mid-on and mid-off are both up. Another one where Phillips has essentially done Goff for lack of pace there. An attempted pull shot out, trying to split the gap between the deep square leg and the deep mid-wicket, who were the two fielders out, and the leading edge dribbling into the onside. And just as we saw last over, as soon as you go wide, there are scoring opportunities. A little bit wide, a little bit short. Tina Goff's off the mark with 4 through cover.
Yeah, easy pickings for the German international. Tina Goff picking the gap absolutely wonderfully there. And yet again, it just takes a little bit of a roll, doesn't it, over those practice pitches. We say it all the time here at the county grounds. I mean, unless you've got a sweeper out there, it's curtains. It's going to be 4 every single time. And I do imagine we'll see plenty of runs, providing that the sweepers aren't out there on both sides.
And even if they are, to be honest, you've not got that much room laterally to play with, because we've got from the left-handers offside and the bowlings from this end, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 practice pitches at least, almost all the way out to that offside boundary. I think we are going to see the first change of bowling at the David Capel end, with a very, very experienced Liz Russell coming into the attack. Stalwart of Warwickshire, named an honorary life member of Warwickshire last year, in the same cohort as the great Alan Donald, which tells you just how highly Warwickshire valued her contributions over the many, many years that she was there. Right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Mira van der Werf. Beats her on the bottom edge, I think. Scuttles through to the keeper, Emma Gibbs.
Yeah, it's been a funny story with Liz Russell, of course. She announced her retirement from pro cricket a couple years back and plays a club cricket alongside Anisha Patel at Dorridge. So I imagine some conversations would have been had there. And
yeah, captain and head of women's girls cricket at Dorridge. Back at her retirement for one last job. Another one that beats the attempted cut from Van der Werf. I think those are probably the only 2 balls outside off stump that haven't been hit for 4.
Yeah, they've covered it very well so far, have the opening bowlers, especially Carpenter. We saw predominantly targeting the leg stump, looking to tail it back into the right-handers.
Russell maybe just getting a little bit of swing away from the right-hander. Rinse and repeat. 3 balls in a row outside off stump. 3 attempted square cuts from Van der Werf. We saw her nail one off Carpenter, but she's missed all 3 off Russell. Herefordshire, having won the toss and elected to bat, are 19 for 2 partway through the 7th over. Out of the power play, but still only 2 fielders out. 1 at deep third and 1 at deep mid-wicket. No sense in letting the pressure on. That one's down the leg side and might escape for 4. Ella Phillips has got a lot of ground to make up from deep third. She's not going to get there. So after 3 good deliveries to start the over, 5 wides down the leg side.
Yeah, that was slightly unexpected from Russell on that occasion. She was bowling very much corridor channel bowling up until that point. She's just bounced in front of Gibbs there, hasn't it? And sneaked through for 5 wides. So Herefordshire now 24 for 2.
I don't think that either Liz Russell or Emma Gibbs will be particularly happy with that. As a wicketkeeper, even down the leg side, you would want to be taking that. Nicely done by the fielder at backward point, stopping that, getting through to the boundary, because finally Van der Werf nailed a cut shot, but very nicely done, diving to her left by the fielder at backward point. Ava Clive on her Northants debut. 17 years old. Came up through Droitwich Spa and actually played against Northants for Shropshire last year in the round 2 of the County Cup, where Northants very nearly found themselves on the end of an upset. 50 for 6, I think they were at one point before.
Yes, certainly were. That was at Wem Cricket Club.
Russell round the wicket to the left-hander Goff. Drives up to it off. There is no run.
But no, last season, I mean, just speaking of last year's campaign for the Steelbacks, beat Worcestershire by 5 wickets here in the first round. You mentioned there, Knuckle, the game against Shropshire. I mean, there was that early wobble, but in the end, beating them by 71 runs. And then, unfortunately, the campaign came to an end in round 3 at the hands of Leicestershire.
Last ball of the over is guided nicely by Goff, backward a square, pick up a single. Very good over, apart from those 5 wides, and that makes it 26 for 2 after 7.
It does indeed. I mean, for Northants this season, they'll be looking to go one further, try and make it through to the latter stages of the competition. Of course, we've already spoken about the winner of this game facing off against Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire, who have combined for this season as opposed to being separate counties, or indeed they'll face off against Lincolnshireans. Have we actually got a score update from Dunstable?
So Bedfordshire and Hunts batting first. Who won the toss? Were put into bat, and they are 104 for 5 after 13. So a bit of a mini collapse there. They were 98 for 3 a few overs ago. So after a pretty strong start for Beds and Hunts, Lincolnshire pulling it back. Ella Phillips is going to bowl straight through here. Tempted to tick off the pads, but went too softly off the thigh pad for any runs. I mean, Ella Phillips does usually bowl up top, one of these top of the innings power play spinners, but Gemma Marriott, considering that she's bowling well enough to keep her going for her 4 straight through at the top of the innings. You could hear in the effects mic how little good contact Tina Goff made with that. Rehearses the pull shot that she was attempting to play again. think that was an arm ball from Ella Phillips. It looked sort of seam up, very dragged down. Almost the type of delivery that you bowl to get a batter off strike, which seems odd that when you're bowling to the left-hander. I'm not entirely sure that was what Phillips was intending in terms of the length. Goff picks herself up a single. Field basically mirroring itself. We've got the deep square leg and the deep mid-wicket for both the right and the left-hander. Swing and a miss from Van der Werf. Doesn't nail a cut shot that time. She's got one away and missed about 4. Bit of bounce from Phillips outside off stump. Again, fired in really quick. Nicely taken by Gibbs, riding with the bounce and taking that almost above her shoulder. Next one, much fuller. Lovely variation from Ella Phillips. And she finishes her spell, terrific spell, bowling straight through at the top of the innings. 4 overs, 2 for 12. After 8, having won the toss and elected to bat in this County Cup round 1 game. Herefordshire are 27 for 2.
I mean, that is very impressive, isn't it? 2 for 12 from 4 overs, especially, let's not forget that, of course, half of those have been in the power play. So, yeah, very, very well bowled to Ella Phillips. Of course, she'll play no further part with the ball in this 20 overs, but she has done precisely what her captain was looking for.
Took 2 for 15 off 4 in the first round last season. So, and was very, very important in that partnership with Mabel Reid to rescue Northampton against Shropshire in round 2. So she is enjoying this competition. Liz Russell's going to continue from the David Capel end. Pleasant drive from Goff straight to the fielder at mid-off. There is no run.
Yeah, good battle this, isn't it? Between 2 very experienced players. As you mentioned, Liz Russell, bit of an icon when it comes to Warwickshire women's cricket. Of course, went on to play the Central Sparks as well in what was previously the regional setup.
Down the leg side, half stopped by Gibbs. Got away from both batter and keeper. I'm not going to assign too much blame to Gibbs because she did have to dive pretty much full length down the leg side. And Liz Russell is proving difficult to get away off the bat, but has mostly conceded wides. In fact, what, the 9 off her... Yeah, 2 runs off the bat only, and she's gone for 9 in 1.2 overs. Occasional slips of the radar. Slight breeze blowing now for the first time today out towards the offside. Played pleasantly into the offside, but smoothly fielded by the fielder at cover.
All things considered, Knuckle, it's just a very pleasant day for cricket, isn't it? It's nice weather, nice temperature. As you said, a cool breeze coming across the ground, but nothing too gusty as of yet.
Can't ask for too much more in the last week of April. Liz Russell gets that one wrong going the other way. Wide outside off stump. Strongly packed offside field. Ava Clive at backward point. Amelia Kemp at cover. We can see her warming up now. Anisha Patel at short cover. A long-time teammate, as we say, Liz Russell coming in now. Good work off her own bowling. It was hit nicely by Van der Werf down the ground. Crowd drop, as it were. Bump ball straight into the outstretched right hand of Russell, getting a radar right this time.
Well, for Tina Goff as well, of course. She used to play for the Bears. Grew up in around Birmingham and, yeah, made a debut for the Bears in 2012. So those two will definitely know one another.
That one just stopped in the surface a little bit. Van der Werf seemed a little early on the shot she was attempting to play and ends up just bunting it really up to mid on Gemma Marriott. Sending Kemp back onto the boundary at cover. maybe almost trying to keep Van der Werf on strike for the start of the next over. She ends up hitting that ball almost 270 degrees away from where she was intending it. She was trying to go through mid-on, ends up squirting down to Carpenter at deep third, and she'll take the single. Well, I think they wanted Northampton to keep her on strike. Not quite like that, but they'll take it. So, what is that? A leg by a wide. 3 runs off the over. Only one of them off the bat. And having won the toss and elected to bat, Herefordshire are 30 for 2.
Indeed they are. Spoke about Amelia Kemp warming up as well, and here she is, right on cue from the Lynn Wilson centre end. So another change of bowling here for Gemma Marriott and the Steelbacks. Definitely applying the pressure early doors. And for Herefordshire, just a case of building a foundation, a platform. Just getting a total on the board.
Only 3 boundaries for Herefordshire in the first 9 overs. Mira van der Werf is 6 off 17. Tina Goff 6 off 14. As Kemp bustles in, real energy in that run-up. But sometimes pace on means pace off the bat. It's a lovely shot up the hill from Mira van der Werf. Likes that cut shot, and she's got that one away beautifully.
Well, there you go. There is a boundary right on cue from van der Werf. And yeah, again, just nicely executed that shot. Didn't throw it too early. Just allowed the ball to come off the bat itself and utilise the extra pace from those practice pitches as well.
It's a little bit straighter, a little bit fuller this time, straight back to the bowler. Actually, that cut shot, looking at that again on the replay, she played that basically off the top of off stump. A lovely shot. She set up really well for that cut just in front and square. There is quite a big gap between backward point and cover for her to find. No slips in place. Swing and a miss. Lost her shape on that one. Not entirely sure where she was trying to hit that, to be honest. And beating outside off stump, a little bit fuller from Kemp. She's trying to go down the ground with this. Seeing the replay, kind of, but really did lose her shape almost early on it. In the air and gone. Lovely catch from Anisha Patel on the ring at cover. Little bit of bounce from Kemp. Van der Werf trying to go through the offside early on. It spooned up a catch to short cover. And the change of bowling has worked. Amelia Kemp strikes 4th ball. Mira van der Werf is gone for 11 off 23 balls. Herefordshire 34 for 2 halfway through the 10th.
Well, as you said there, it's the extra bounce, wasn't it? That was the undoing of the Dutch Youth International. Good catch in the end as well from Anisha Patel. Of course, always important to take those ones safely. Get that additional wicket on the board. And yeah, for Herefordshire now, already into the middle order. Good start as well from Amelia Kemp. Always nice, isn't it, as a bowler, when you get an early wicket and almost settle in.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, in a strange way, there's slightly less value on a wicket in T20 necessarily than in other formats, and you almost certainly looking at averages doesn't tell you very much for a T20 bowler, but the fact that string a couple of dot balls together, force a mistake from Van der Werf on a shot that she's been playing very well for the most part all day, and get that wicket to that. And also for Gemma Marriott, she's had Anisha Patel in there at short cover in a catching position pretty much throughout. So that little bit of satisfaction as a captain for that plan to come off. Georgie Williams is the new batter, right-hander, facing up to Kemp, who oversteps, and that's the second no ball of the day. You had Emily Carpenter bowling a near perfect in-swinging Yorker, first up to Lucy Barnett, to Alana Swift, but overstepping, and that time Kemp has overstepped to Georgie Williams, who will now get to face a free hit early on. Talk about nice introduction for a bowler. Now you've got first legitimate ball is a free hit. No hitting free or otherwise with that one. Lovely ball from Kemp. A little bit of tail maybe into the right handle. So you have to see on the replay Kemp trying to take her back over her head because the mid-on and mid-wicket are both up, but Kemp nailed that pretty much perfectly. Oh, she in fact speared it into the pads. Almost like she read what Williams was trying to do and cramped her for room. Nicely bowled by Amelia Kemp. Last ball of the over is driven very pleasantly. It's the sort of shot that would elicit oohs and ahs in a net. Gorgeous extra cover drive, but straight to the fielder. And Amelia Kemp's first over, 1 for 5, the wicket of Mira van der Werf. And halfway through their innings, having won the toss and elected to bat in this first round county cup game against the Northamptonshire Steelbacks at the county ground, Wantage Road, Herefordshire are 35 for 3.
Indeed they are. Good start there for Amelia Kemp. Looks as though it will be Liz Russell to continue from the opposing side, the David Capel end here at the county ground. And, well, these two, as we said, experienced, very, very experienced duo. Georgie Williams, someone who's played in and around the Worcestershire setup, was previously on the Central Sparks EPP. She's at the non-strikers end as Goff faces off here against Russell, and that is a beautiful shot square of the wicket. Will just be one, though. Steelbacks do have protection out there at sweeper. Of course, over the winter as well. She's been out in Australia, Western Australia to be specific, playing a little bit of grade cricket out in Oz. Nice place to spend your winter.
A few of the Northants girls have been out in Australia as well. Queensland.
Yes, yep. Indeed, they have.
Playing in the Queensland Prem.
Emily Kibble as well, who isn't playing for Herefordshire today. She was out in Tasmania as Emily Carpenter brought up here into the circle at third. It will be Williams looking to get off the mark. There she goes through mid-wicket. That one could go for 4. It races along the turf. And, well, that is an absolutely terrific strike. Gathered so much pace and momentum.
Yeah, in terms of the aesthetics of it, it was a little bit designed, but she picked the gap really nicely, that little waft of the wrist, because to get it between long on and deep mid-wicket, and even with the slight rise up to the boundary, which is right up against the advertising hoardings on that side of the ground, still raced away. I mean, what we can say is that the outfield is an absolute beauty.
Williams this time just plays that one through the covers for 1. Yeah, it is. It's been like that all season. We've mentioned that, whether it's been in the county championship, of course, in the one-day cup opener as well. For April, it has been lightning fast.
Such a strange one, because we had, February was pretty barely saw the sky, let alone the sun. But we've had such sort of beautiful weather during April. I mean, we've seen the runs that have been scored in the first couple of rounds of the county championship pretty much up and down the country.
Let's not sneak the single there. Good awareness shown there by Tina Goff.
Decent hustle from Georgie Williams, given that she basically has to run round Liz Russell to be able to get up from the non-strikers end. Mid-offset, right back on the edge of the circle. And we have seen a few more fielders go out. We've got 4 out on the boundary now.
Yet again, that one played very smartly out towards Amelia Kemp for 1.
Talking about players playing in Queensland, Amelia Kemp is one of them. She was playing out in Brisbane over the winter. On the Gold Coast.
That time can't quite get it beyond Anisha Patel, and that will be the end of the over. A very good one for Herefordshire. 8 runs coming from it. The visitors now 43 for 3.
Yeah, by some margin, the best over for Herefordshire of this innings. Sneaking up towards this partnership is now worth 11 off off the, 8 balls that that they've faced. You do get the sense that, in some ways, it's an obvious thing to say, but with the vast experience of Tina Goff, you imagine that she will be almost the one who looks to bat through and sort of anchor this innings for Herefordshire.
Well, here is Kemp. To Williams, that one is edged, and that one could race away for 4. Indeed, it will, down towards the Spencer Lounge. So Herefordshire just picking up a little bit of momentum here. It's now 12 runs off the previous 7 deliveries for the Bulls, and well, for Georgie Williams as well. Doesn't really matter how the runs are coming. The fact is she's adding plenty for her side here.
That's one as a fast bowler, you just chalk up to bad luck. Amelia Kemp with the Catherine Siverbrunt hands on hips. How on earth did that happen to me?
Well, that one's slightly more orthodox with regards to the potential scoring region. And again, that was another textbook example just how fast this outfield is. And the only bit where it's been a little bit slower has been out towards the heavy sweep, just because there's a little bit of a hill. But other than that, I mean, providing you beat the outfield, it just zips off, really does.
It's a lovely example just there. That was, you see that a lot of places like the Oval with where you can hit the ball hard into the ground, and Anisha Patel is not the tallest, admittedly, at cover, but she essentially bounced it over her to get the single. I think it'd be even more so going out this side, out towards the enemy stand with those practice wickets. If you hit it hard into one of those, very, very difficult for an infielder.
Yeah, you've got to be careful. Goff this time goes to the big shots. Thought there might have been a half appeal there from Emma Gibbs.
It's the good old-fashioned ooh.
Well, I must say, I don't think we heard any willow through the effects mic on that occasion.
She was quite a distance from that in the end, Tina Goff.
You can see the intent, though. And yet again, looking to go expansive. Just missing out on that particular delivery.
It's a tricky position for her and for Herefordshire halfway through, or more than halfway through now, a T20 innings. You know you have to accelerate. You know that, certainly on this wicket and this outfield, sort of meandering to 100 isn't going to get you very far. But she almost looked like she was trying to overhit those last 3.
Yeah, well, that will be the end of the over from Amelia Kemp. She's done well so far, 1 for 10 from her opening 2 overs, and after 12, Herefordshire are 48 for 3. We actually saw it in one of the games earlier today. I mean, Worcestershire, they were under a lot of early pressure against Northumberland. At one point, I think they were 12 for 3 or 13 for 3. But then Sanya Karana, the captain, Claire Boycott, those two had a real big partnership, and Northumberland, in response, was skittled for 38. So, yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Especially at this stage. It's the opening round of the competition. It can be very, very difficult to actually pace the 20 overs themselves, as we'll see a change of bowling here from the David Capel end. It will be Anisha Patel.
And you've also, in terms of level of opposition, Herefordshire's games this season, they played a game against Worcester University,
yep,
which actually a couple of players who were contracted for Herefordshire played for Worcester University in that game. They played against a couple of their own players, and then they played 2 games in a blast on the same day against Cumbria. 1-1, lost 1. And now you're playing up against a Tier 2 team on a first-class ground who've had a week off.
Oh, that's a good delivery. I mean, your reaction told you everything you need to know, really, Knuckle. I mean, she really is a very good leg spinner, is Anisha Patel. Imagine she'll look to bowl quite a few googlies here, try to bring those stumps into play. Here she is again to Williams, beats her with that latest delivery as well.
I was saying not the tallest, but she comes right over the top of her action, gets as much loop and drop and bounce as she can out of her action.
That one almost keeping a little bit low. To play through the covers for one by Williams, moves her on to 12. Herefordshire on to 49.
There's that real bustle and energy in her action, real drive through the crease, an awful lot of body and shoulder in that action from the pharmacovigilist Anisha Patel, if that's a word. It's in drug safety.
Goff again has been bold. Anisha Patel strikes in her very first over of the game. And that is a big wicket for the Steelbacks to get Herefordshire 49 for 4. Tina Goff, the experienced middle order bats, has to depart for 8 runs. Knuckle taught me through that one. That is another very nice delivery from the wrist spinner.
Yeah, beautiful delivery. Not a huge amount of turn, but as I was talking about that loop and that drop, Tina Goff thought that was going to be there for the drive, was beaten in the flight, and completely lost her shape by the time the ball came to her. A lovely delivery from Anisha Patel. Again, we were talking about this with Ella Phillips, obviously the off spinner. Neither of them going for the more sort of modern T20 vogue of firing the ball in flat too much. A little bit more from Ella Phillips, but Anisha Patel, old school leg spin in terms of what she's trying to do with the ball, getting the ball up and above the batter's eye line, tempting her to lose the shape, and that's exactly what she did, skidding on to take the top of leg stump. Lovely delivery. And she probably would have been out stumped if it had missed the top of leg stump, because Tina Goff had dragged her foot out of the crease. Lovely bowling.
Really was. Carded into bat next for the Bulls is Lauren Atkinson. So again, a little bit of a partnership needed here for Herefordshire just to get up to something of real size and significance. As for Lauren, one of the younger members of this team, has played for Malvern Cricket Club, Aswood Bank and Pershore, products of the Worcestershire pathway. And that's a big connection that Herefordshire are looking to almost materialise in the coming years, almost be that pathway, that feeder into the Tier 2 side of Worcestershire and, of course, the Tier 1 team of Warwickshire Beyond. This is a good opportunity for the youngster alongside Georgie Williams. Here is Patel. Goes onto the back foot. It's another beautiful delivery from the leggy.
Again, not a huge amount of turn, but it's all what's happening from hand to pitch.
And that'll be the end of the over. What a start that is for Anisha Patel. Just a solitary run conceded. The huge wicket of Tina Goff. Herefordshire now 49 for 4 after 13.
And a timely wicket for Northampton. You can't say that they were under the cosh in any meaningful way, but there was a bit of a recovery happening between Georgie Williams, who's looked very positive, and Tina Goff, as we were saying, acting as that anchor, being someone who other batters could bat around. But now the onus now comes on to Williams and the lower and middle order. Will card it in next. We've got Ellie Roberts, then Lily Rutt, then the captain Chloe Tingle. And now Herefordshire really have no choice really but to attack. I think that, which obviously could potentially lead to a flurry of wickets, but I don't think there's much to be gained from sort of respectably staying not bowled out.
That's a good stop in the end, wasn't it, from Anisha Patel? Good to see as well, a nice smattering of spectators out towards the Spencer Lounge. I know that a few of the players' friends and family are here in attendance today.
Free entry, so if you are in the area, come on down.
Precisely that. Really is a very nice day for some county cricket. And that is a very nice shot as well, courtesy of Georgie Williams. Utilises the footwork perfectly and bashes it down the ground for 4 runs. That will be the 50 up for Herefordshire. The visitors 53 for 4 in the 14th.
Yeah, very nicely played. Just a little bit too full in the slot from Kemp, especially with the mid-on and the mid-off up. I think now mid-on Marriott is putting herself back on the fence. Actually, yeah, almost back on the fence. At a pretty straight-ish long on.
How does Kemp respond? Williams again, looking to play that one through the offside.
Yeah, Georgie Williams very much the standout on this scorecard, scoring it over a run a ball. No one else scoring it even 3 and over.
Oh, that one has been crunched through the offside. That one motors away for 4. Imperious strike that from Georgie Williams. And yeah, you can see the intent certainly here to score those boundaries.
All you needed to know about that was the sound off the bat. That gorgeous whip crack as the willow punished the cork and leather. Gorgeous cover drive. And Marriott's now being forced to make changes to the field. We've now got, the field was set pretty square, we've now got deep extra cover, a long off and a long on in place.
Oh, Williams on that occasion, she will scamper through for the single off the misfield. So yet another productive over for the Bulls. Herefordshire 58 for 4, and Georgie Williams will keep the strike for good measure. It's interesting as well. I was speaking with Richie Harley, and she only arrived in the country on the Tuesday before the games against Cumbria. So it really was a case of basically play her cricket out in Australia, catch the flight, and then a few days later, you're into the side early doors at Lindlemore Cricket Club. But she is someone in this side. She'll play a big role this season, not only with the bat, but of course with the off spin as well. She's also changed her local cricket club for this season. She'll be playing for Aswood Bank as opposed to the likes of Woolhope, and I think she previously played at Brockhampton. Yeah, which of course 2 clubs in the county itself. Here is Patel then, bowling to the aforementioned Williams, and that is a terrific stop by Presland to keep that to a dot ball.
I wouldn't say that this has been the most testing day in the field so far from Northamptonshire, but everything they've had to do, they've done well.
This time Williams steps down the track. It's aerial. It may have split the gap down towards the coffee van. Indeed it does. 1 bounce 4. And this now turning into a very, very fruitful stay at the crease for the visiting side.
There's nothing particularly wrong with that ball at all from Patel. It's almost the same ball that she got the wicket of Tina Goff with, in terms of just tossing the ball up, tempting the batter to come down to the ground, but a lovely shot.
At least this one will be a dot ball. Yeah, you can just see after the early edge, since then, displaying a lot more control and authority, a lot more confidence in the shot selection. Lost that one. Looking to cross bat it out towards the leg side. Just goes over the top of the stumps and safely pouched.
That's the first real hoik that she's played, as opposed to a real strong shot.
Goes again, this one aerial. Goes up, up. Will it be caught? No, it won't. It's just been dropped. But the boundary has been saved, and in the end, only the 1 run taken.
Liz Russell down there at deep mid-wicket. It almost goes down as a good stop, sort of 5 runs saved. They almost managed to parry it actually to the fielder at long on coming around. It's a decent stretch.
Really is. That one, a decent shot as well from Atkinson. She will get off the mark towards the end of the over. So that is Patel's second done. She has figures of 1 for 7 from her too. Herefordshire now 64 for 4 after 15.
News from the game that will determine the... So, as we were saying earlier, whoever wins this game will play either Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire or Lincolnshire, and Bedfordshire made 130 for 7 off their 20 overs. Holly Reeder top scoring with 36 off 26. 2 wickets for Lincolnshire's Jess Thatcher for 20 off her completed 5 overs.
It's not a bad score, that, is it?
Yeah, they got off to a really good start in the power play. I think they were 50 for something off the first 5, and then a little bit of a wobble and some good acceleration towards the end, almost like a sort of prototypical old school T20 innings. I say old school because if you've been watching the IPL, all sense of innings progression has gone completely out of the window.
Yeah, getting games where 260 plus is being chased down.
Russell's going to come back into the attack from the other end this time, switching to the Lynn Wilson centre end. Beats Atkinson outside off stump. And I wonder if we might now see a little bit of field manipulation, almost to try and starve Georgie Williams of the strike a little bit. She is going so well, and batters of that type of mould tend not to like being starved of the strike for too long. If that was the plan, then Lauren Atkinson has foiled it by pushing a single out to deep cover.
It is interesting as well in terms of the field placement, of course, to Williams, because just looking out here, the mid-wicket is in play. Obviously, the long gone. That's been pretty much the case for the entirety of the innings so far, and deep backward square leg. But there's a very tempting gap in front of us here. It's deep forward mid-wicket.
They've actually now moved the short fine leg into that gap. So, Georgie Williams, do you have a paddle sweep, basically, is what they're saying. Now, why bother with the paddle sweep when you can pick up 5 wides? Probably going to run away, is going to run away. The fielder from short third couldn't cut that off. Wild and woolly down the leg side. We've seen a couple of those from Liz Russell today, and Emma Gibbs keeping for the first time this season. Chloe Hill's been keeping earlier this season. Emma Gibbs been given a slightly unwanted workout low down the leg side.
I was going to say that's probably just the one slightly disappointing thing for the Steelbacks here, the amount of extras.
Good delivery from Russell, pretty much nailed the Yorker, and even Williams with her proven power can only drive it down to Gemma Marriott. Skipper on the long on boundary, who now comes up into the circle for Lauren Atkinson. 2 off 5. Georgie Williams, 27 off 24. Extra fielder up in the circle, only 3 out. Deep cover, deep mid-wicket, and deep square leg. Play and a miss from Atkinson, playing over the top of a drivable delivery. What wind there was could hardly really be called such. Even when it was blowing, is now dropped completely. The flags over to our left of the groundsman's hut have subsided. Big appeal and gone. Little under edge from Atkinson, trying to cut that away, trying to pierce the offside field, but it's taken nicely by Emma Gibbs. Liz Russell has her first wicket of the day. Atkinson's gone for 2 off 7. Herefordshire 71 for 5.
Yeah, good bowling that, isn't it, from Liz Russell? Just popping it in that corridor, inviting the shot from Atkinson. It's just a tickle of an edge, isn't it? It's not a thickish outside edge. Easily taken by Emma Gibson's. Well, that'll feel very nice for Liz Russell. Yet another wicket here in Steelbacks colours. Herefordshire lose their 5th, and we believe that coming into bat next will be Ellie Roberts. So, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it, for the other batters? It must just be a case of rotate the strike and try and just give as many deliveries to Georgie Williams.
And if you do end up facing the last ball of the over, you've essentially got a free hit.
Precisely.
That may be being slightly harsh on the Herefordshire lower middle order. Ellie Roberts, I think, has come in. Now, we'll try and identify that for you as soon as we possibly can. We are very much into the death overs now. 4 overs remaining after this. Reminder that Herefordshire won the toss and elected to bat. And it is wearing shirt number 26, Ellie Roberts, coming out at number 7. 1 ball remaining in this, the 16th over. Gemma Marriott happy to give Roberts the single. The entire leg side field in front of square is back on the edge of the ring. They might try and push for 2 here. No, they're not going to get it because Kemp and Marriott were in very quickly. It's Kemp who fires that in underarm. So a single to end the over. That's 3 off it, 8 runs off it, and the wicket from Liz Russell. After 16, Herefordshire having won the toss are 72 for 5.
Just as a bit of an update as well from the games which have already taken place in the County Cup today. We've had a result down in Bristol where Gloucestershire have beaten Cornwall by 107 runs. In the game taking place at Exning, Hertfordshire have beaten Cambridgeshire by 27 runs. Oxfordshire have advanced to round 2, courtesy of a 21-run win over Dorset at Canford Magna. Berkshire have opened up their campaign with a win over Wiltshire down in Marlborough, and Suffolk have been defeated at Ipswich Cricket Club by Buckinghamshire. So those are some of the scores on the doors. We'll provide you with the other results after this next delivery.
Change of bowling at the top end, the David Capel end. Emily Carpenter coming back on for her final over, and again still getting swing late in this innings. Left arm of Northants getting swing. We've been here before, haven't we?
We certainly have.
Not entirely sure how that ball managed to squirt down to short third. Leg by. Half a decent LBW shot. Probably was swinging too much. And a leg by gets Georgie Williams off strike, which I think was pretty much what Northants were hoping for at the start of this over. I beg your pardon, Georgie Williams is now on strike. But only for 1 ball as she clubs this out to deep mid-wicket.
Again, it made another heavy noise off the bat, didn't it? Just to give you those final 2 scores as well. We spoke about it earlier, but Worcestershire beating Northumberland comfortably by 121 runs at Himley. And finally, Glamorgan have beaten Devon by 11 runs at Newport. So those are your results.
Go around the grounds of the games that are ongoing, maybe at the end of this over, as Ella Phillips is asked to jog round from deep third to long leg. Ella Phillips bowled extremely well earlier today, bowling her 4 straight through at the top of the innings, 2 for 12 off her 4 overs. Carpenter, who was accompanying her for most of that, now round the wicket, as a lot of bowlers do towards the end of the innings, dropping her length back a little bit, not necessarily looking for the swing, trying to cramp Roberts for room. She just pushes to cover. Emily Carpenter, 3.3 overs, none for 10, and is very, very unlucky not to have picked up at least 1 wicket so far today. Oh, it's been spilled by the keeper, Emma Gibbs. I'm not sure if that took an edge or not. There's a reaction hands on head from Carpenter. No one else seemed to react that much, and I didn't hear anything in the effects mic.
Again, whether it was just a feather of an edge behind, we have got the courtesy of the replay now.
You do very well to edge that, to be honest. Left arm round the wicket, angling in, seaming away. You'd have to be in very, very good nick to get an edge on that. Just a spill. No buys resulted. Bowled her. Carpenter's bowled beautifully today. She absolutely deserved that. she's fallen over in her, such as the exuberance of her celebration. That was an absolute ripper from Carpenter. The ball before, almost the perfect delivery, angling in, seaming away. The next one just exactly the same. This one taking the top of off stump. A lot better players will get out to that delivery. Absolute beauty from Amelia Carpenter. 1 for 10 off her 3.5 overs. Roberts done by an absolute ripper. 2 off 5. 74 for 7 now. So 7 for 6. Sorry, Herefordshire. And Amelia Carpenter all right? She seems to go down holding her shoulder a little bit, but she seems to be all right up on her feet. What happened here? She puts her hand up in celebration. Really was a delicious delivery. And it's unclear exactly what was going on there because Amelia Carpenter did seem to sink to her haunches. But she's up and ready to bowl. So all is well. Lily Rutt, the Herefordshire number 8. Really, really enjoyed watching Amelia Carpenter bowling today. Seeing the swing back in to the left, to the right-hander rather, from over the wicket. And now we're seeing the seam movement away. Very correctly played by Rutt, just pushing to cover. And the end of a quite brilliant spell from Amelia Carpenter. 3 overs up top, 1 at the death, 1 for 10 off her 4. Herefordshire 74 for 6.
Yeah, set the tone, didn't she, early doors? I know she was wicketless in those opening 3 overs, but to just concede 8 runs, absolutely phenomenal work, and richly applauded by those spectators down towards the Spencer Lounge. Also, quite a few to our left here in the Jackson Grundy as well, which is fantastic to see. As Knuckle mentioned a little bit earlier, it is free entry in the competition. Of course, if you are in the area, you want to come down for the second innings, the run chase for the Steelbacks, please feel free to do so. But with regards to the scores on the doors, Mr. Pandey, how are they looking so far?
Yeah, speaking of a run chase, Kent have got one on their hands at Radlett. Middlesex made 184 for 5 off their 20 overs. Saskia Hawley, 98 off 65 balls. And Finty Trussler, 35 not out of 14 balls down the order for Middlesex. Pity poor Izzy James, 1 over for 20. So some work to do for Kent against a very, very strong Middlesex team. Here at the County Ground, Northampton, Amelia Kemp's going to bowl from the Lynn Wilson centre end, and she's not going to get a wicket because it's dropped at cover point. The toe end went straight up in the air from Georgie Williams. It was trying to hoik that over the leg side, and it's put down at cover, swirling away, but should have been taken. Really, Ella Phillips on the ring, putting that down. Northampton's ground fielding's been good, but a couple of catches have gone down. We saw Liz Russell drop a tricky one at deep mid-wicket. That one much simpler and should have really been taken. Attempted to work around the corner from Rutt. Second ball goes absolutely nowhere, and there is no run.
Again, Lily Rutt, one of the younger players for Herefordshire today. Plays a club cricket for Appley, products of the Gloucestershire age groups as well. Been training with Gloucestershire and Herefordshire over the course of the winter.
Attempted glide down past backward point, goes a bit finer than Rutt was intending. Gets her off the mark with a single down to deep third. A little bit of extra pace from Amelia Kemp, who's in the Yorkshire Academy set up for this season. One of a number of dual reg players, not just in the Northampton team, but probably across tier 2.
Yeah. Several
of the dual reg players were essentially preemptively cup tied for today, including Mabel Reid, but Amelia Kemp allowed to play today, and that is going to be 4. Not where Williams was intending. Trying to go down the ground, the toe end of the bat goes flying over the head of short third. Absolutely no chance for the fielder at short third, and Georgie Williams picks up herself another boundary, moves to 31 off 27 out of a score of 80 for 6. much needed impetus. Couple of edges, but a couple of really impressive hits from Georgie Williams. What will Kemp come back with? She'll come back with a wide down the leg side.
Yeah, just from recollection, I believe that is now 12 runs of these 81, which have come courtesy of wides. Of course, we've seen a couple of no balls. Leg by in there as well. Said extras have just been mounting up a little bit over the course of the
14 extras at the 11th wide. A few of those going for 5. Driven down the ground, and that's going to be a chase for Marriott. In fact, it's going to be cut off by the fielder at mid-off. Marriott doing good work down there in conjunction with, as I peer around the edge of the commentary box, with Chloe Hill down there at long on, normally a wicket keeper, doing very good work, sprawling away to her right down at long off, preventing the boundary and keeping that 2-2. Geordie Williams can count to 6, last ball of the over. She takes a quick single to mid-wicket. That's a pretty good over from Herefordshire, certainly in the context of what has gone before. So what is that? 7, 9, 10 runs off the over. Herefordshire 84 for 6 with 2 to play.
Just looking back on the replay, what a very elaborate stop that is as well from Ava Clive. Had a nice moment there with Alicia Presland. Of course, Ava Clive, speaking of those dual-registered cricketers, again, another one involved with Warwickshire for the 2026 season. And she'll be absolutely delighted to be making her debut here in Tier 2 for Northants.
I think Herefordshire might be slightly less delighted because she, playing mostly for Shropshire last year, she played against them twice in the Blast, scored 59 off 30 and 94 off 55. 17-year-old Ava Clive making her Northants debut today. Very much at the other end of the experience scale. Anisha Patel is going to bowl this, the 19th. And despite a very good effort from the fielder at deep mid-wicket, almost diving headlong into the Stan Air boundary board, is going to start with conceding a boundary, slightly short. All Georgie Williams needed to rock back and pull that away between deep mid-wicket and long leg. Yeah, not a piece of fielding that Liz Russell will want to see again, I think. Down the ground this time and beats mid-on this time to the other side. Terrific shot from Georgie Williams down the track. She's looked so comfortable using her feet against the spinner. And long on was not far away from that and really didn't have a hope. Back-to-back boundaries to start the 19th.
Yeah, this has been a seriously impressive knock from Georgie Williams, and really nice as well for her and, of course, for a team. Spoke about it before, very much been heavily involved in Herefordshire cricket, having played for Brockhampton and Walhope in the past. She's someone who, again, is very, very passionate about her local county, her local side as well. Really is fantastic to see this. 44 from 31, and well, she has been a thorn in the side of the Steelbacks so far today.
4 fielders now back on the leg side, round from deep square to long on. Attempted cut, Ava Clive juggling a little bit at cover, but keeping it to none. Georgie Williams just rotating bat in her hand. Down the track again. Anisha Patel, I think, saw her coming that time and dragged it a bit shorter. So Georgie Williams rather has to adjust and hoik it out to deep mid-wicket for a single.
It was a good adjustment, wasn't it, from Anisha Patel? I think you can see here on the replay, there is that slightly early movement. It's premeditated from Williams herself. But I'll tell you what, really has been the linchpin here for the visiting side.
No signs of real adventure from Rutt off the penultimate ball of the over, just pushing a single to cover. Well, we talked about this earlier, actually, didn't we? Trying to keep Williams on strike. Batter off the last ball of the over. Almost has a free swing at that. Instead, she takes the single down to long on. To be honest, I understand not turning down runs. That one's a bit of a 50-50. if you've got basically a free run down to long on, fine, take it. But it does mean that now Williams is off strike for the last over, which Herefordshire start at 94 for 6. Anisha Patel finishes with figures of 1 for 17 off her 3 overs. And a terrific delivery earlier to get the very, very experienced former Germany captain Tina Goff for 8.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting first delivery from Gemma Marriott. Just in terms
How's this
of
for confidence? Bringing yourself on as skipper for your first ball in the last over.
Well, just in terms of what the approach from Rutt is here and what the conversation was with Georgie Williams. I mean, she must be desperate to have the strike here.
Only 2 back on the boundary, deep square leg. 3 back, sorry, deep third, deep square leg, and long leg, beaten outside off stump. Interesting to watch how far Georgie Williams is backing up at the non-strikers end, because I imagine, as you say, she is desperate, as are Herefordshire, for her to be on strike for as much of this last over as possible. Marriott recognising that as well, bringing those fielders up into the circle. An honest to goodness bouncer from the captain, Gemma Marriott. And Lilia Rutt decides to leave it alone. Maybe hoping it would go through for a wide or be called on wide rather for a height. I do wonder if you are better off having a swing at that. You don't see many wides in the last, leaves in the last over of a T20 innings. Another dot ball, swing and a miss outside off stump. So far, so good for Gemma Marriott, bringing herself on for her first over of the day in the last over of the innings. And so far, so good that Georgie Williams is stranded at the non-strikers end on 45 not out. Driven short of the fielder at mid-on, shy at the stumps, and no good from the fielder at mid-off, Chloe Hill. And they do manage to scramble that single. But Georgie Williams has now only got 2 deliveries to work with. It is these kind of sort of little game management scenarios that, as you're building your career as a cricketer and as and your profile as a club, that you'd imagine that the coach Richie Hartley will be just noting that down and trying to. It's something to note and to work on. A no ball from Gemma Marriott. It was a pretty good delivery, beat Georgie Williams' attempted cut shot, but now by far and away the standout batter for Herefordshire has a free hit in the last over. Off the last ball, indeed.
3 hits and just 5 runs shy of what would be an incredible half-century. Really has played a fantastic hand today.
Long off, long on, deep mid-wicket. Out and deep cover, who fields that as Marriott drops this one a little bit short, trying to make sure that Williams couldn't free her arms, and she ends up just clubbing it out to cover for a single. She moves to 46 not out off 35 balls. Rutt, 3 not out off 9, will be facing up to the last delivery of the innings. Herefordshire won the toss, chose to bat on 97 for 6. Last ball of the innings from the Northampton captain, Gemma Marriott, is a no ball. Sorry, is a no ball, is a dot ball. I managed to get the previous delivery preloaded in my mouth there somehow. The way that Georgie Williams ran off there, it was as though they'd decided they were going to run, but then Lily Rutt decided against it. But a very, very good last over from Gemma Marriott, with the potential danger of Georgie Williams managed to keep her off strike, went for just 3 off it, and Herefordshire closed their batting innings at 97 for 6. By far the standout. Absolutely terrific innings from Georgie Williams, coming in at number 5, 46 not out off 35 balls, 8 fours. She was striking at 130 per 100 balls. The next best strike rate for Herefordshire was Mira van der Werf's 47. Mira van der Werf, the only other batter for Herefordshire to make it into double figures. She made 11, 8 apiece for Alana Swift and Tina Goff, 1 for Lucy Barnett up the top of the innings, 2 apiece for Lauren Atkinson and Ellie Roberts, and 3 not out for Lily Rutt. We mentioned this earlier. We're talking about learnings for Herefordshire, for Northampton. 16 extras would be something that David Ripley and the rest of his coaching staff and Gemma Marriott would not be overly happy about. Bowling figures, Emily Carpenter bowled terrifically up top. Was unlucky not to take a wicket in her first spell. Got one in her second. 4 overs, 1 for 10, bowling 3 through at the top of the innings. Ella Phillips bowled 4 through at the top of the innings. 4 overs, none for 12, also excellent. Liz Russell, not her best day with the ball. 4 overs, 1 for 25. Amelia Kemp, a little bit targeted by Georgie Williams, but bowled with good pace. 4 overs, 1 for 29. Anisha Patel, very, very good. 3 overs, 1 for 17. Gemma Marriott, just that final over for 3. So in order to get through to the second round of the Women's T20 County Cup and play either Huntingdonshire and Bedfordshire or Lincolnshire, Northants will have to chase 98.
Indeed they will. Well, we'll take a short breather here on commentary as the innings break does take place, and we'll be back on shortly as Northamptonshire look to chase down that aforementioned target of 98 runs.
Anisha Patel, 3 overs, 1 for 17 runs. Gemma Marriott, 1 over, 3 runs. Refreshment snacks continue to be available. The next fixture for the Steelbacks women will be the back-to-back one-day cup. Next game is on the 3rd of May, Gloucestershire, and the trip to Bristol. The next home game, also the back-to-back one-day cup, will be on the 10th of May. That's Finding Dublin Ground. That will be at 10:30 start. So I'm sure they'll be very pleased for your support. So I'll go on to Finding on the 10th of May. For the 50 oversized back-to-back one-day cup. Finally, on this afternoon about international cricket at the county ground. And England will face New Zealand winning for the one-day international. And that game takes place on Wednesday the 30th of May. Tickets are available for £20 for adults, £10 for juniors. The game starts at 1 p.m. Tickets available on the website www.ncccc.co.uk/WODR. Welcome back there, umpires. Having pitched up, Ravel Welsh. Opening captain for the Steelbacks, Captain John Marriott, and road number 88, Ava Goff.
Welcome back to the County Ground Northampton on the Northamptonshire live stream on the Northampton YouTube page and website. I'm Knuckle Pandey here with Aaron Viles, taking you through the start of the second innings of Northamptonshire's County Cup first round game against Herefordshire. If you weren't with us earlier, or if you have temporarily forgotten what happened while you made yourself a cup of tea, Herefordshire went in, won the toss and chose to bat first, and 97 for 6, thanks mostly to an absolutely terrific innings from Georgie Williams, 46 not out of 35 balls, the star bowler for Northants. Well, they were all very good, but Ella Phillips with her 2 for 12 and Emily Carpenter with her 1 for 10, bowling almost straight through at the top of the innings, were particularly impressive. For opening the batting for Northants, it's going to be Chloe Hill and Amelia Kemp. Amelia Kemp's going to take strike first up. And opening the bowling for Herefordshire is going to be if I can read that. Number 27, who is... We will bring you that in just a second.
So it's Amy Maund wearing the number 27.
Amy Maund, who had a small amount of internet celebrity a few years ago when during lockdown she designed a sort of COVID thank you England shirt. And he's got a wicket very first ball of the innings. That is Gemma Marriott, the captain, opening the batting, has spooned a catch straight up to mid-off. What a start for Amy Maund. What a start for Herefordshire. A wicket, very first ball of the innings. Gemma Marriott gone for a golden duck.
Well, that is absolutely staggering. I mean, what a moment it is as well for Herefordshire. You could see the exuberance, the sheer joy in the celebration. And for Amy Maund, I mean, she is another one, Herefordshire through and through. Of course, has since gone on to graduate up towards Worcestershire. Just look at this reaction to the wicket. Absolutely loving that one. It's a big moment. Marriott departs for that aforementioned golden duck. And, well, that is far from the starts that Northamptonshire were looking for.
I'm very rarely going to criticise a T20 batter for getting out trying to hit a boundary. And that's exactly what she was trying to do. Tina Goff taking the catch, backpedaling at the edge of the circle. The shot was on. The shot was on. It was a hittable delivery for Gemma Marriott to go over the top of mid-off. She just didn't get it at all and popped up a relatively simple catch for Tina Goff. Amelia Kemp is actually coming out at number 3. I was going off my batting order rather than my eyes, which is never a good idea. It's the debutant Ava Clive at the other end.
It's the nature of T20, though, isn't it? It's malleable with regards to the lineups.
What can Amy Maund follow that with? She'll follow that with a pretty good delivery. Full and driven nicely by Kemp. Out to Georgie Williams. Fielding in the wide brim sun hat, which we love to see at extra cover. Yeah, the fielder at at backward point isn't wearing any kind of headgear at all, which is rarely advisable on a sunny day. Wicket and a dot to start for Amy Maund. Follow up with a short ball which is paddled around the corner for a single. Lauren Atkinson at fine leg. That one seamed in quite considerably from Amy Maund from outside off stump. A little bit of bounce as well. We saw that with Carpenter early on. It's good carry in this surface, and the outfield, as we saw earlier as well, is like lightning.
Yeah, it is.
So Ava Clive, 17 years old, facing her first ball as a Northants player. Just defends it to cover. Lily Rutt doing the fielding. Also, hatless. There is no run.
We're just speaking a little bit more about Amy Maund. I mean, famously in 2023, so in the previous iteration of the county circuit, well, she took 4 wickets in a maiden over against Warwickshire at Kenilworth Wardens. Here she is again.
Attempted cut from Clive. Slightly cramped for room, and again fielded comfortably at cover by Lily Rutt.
Just looking at, well, the performance so far this season at Lindell Moor against Cumbria, 2 for 4 from her 2 overs in that game in the Blast. So, yeah, Maund here has got a rather prominent role to play for the visitors.
Last ball of the over is picked up beautifully by Ava Clive. And despite the presence of the fielder at deep square leg, that was only ever going to be one result. Thumps into the advertising hoardings. A gorgeous way to get off the mark as a Northants cricketer. She's off the mark with 4 off the first over. The Northamptonshire Steelbacks 5 for 1, having lost the captain Gemma Marriott first ball. Lovely shot from Clive. Absolutely nailed that.
Yeah, certainly did. But you can just see there's a little bit of that inwards lateral movement from Amy Maund. It is something which she's garnered a reputation for at Worcestershire. Spoke to her captain, Claire Boycott, about it last season. quote unquote hoops it a mile. So just watch out for that from the David Capel ends. As you mentioned, Knuckle, the fact that Emily Carpenter got that pronounced movement earlier on, it's definitely going to be something to watch out for.
Yeah, I think all of the Herefordshire top order will have been relaying that to their bowlers. One of whom now Lauren Atkinson. The fact that she was fielding at fine leg should have given us some kind of clue that she was going to bowl a second over, and she does. Starts with one outside off stump. Left alone. Yeah, Ava Clive also actually made her debut for Warwickshire back in 2024. Only the one game for them. In the same team as Liz Russell, captained by Anisha Patel, and on the other side for Hertfordshire, Amy Kemp, Gemma Marriott, and Ella Phillips. Swing and a miss from Amelia Kemp, trying to drive this through the covers, and is beaten. You notice quite quickly, I think particularly in the Midlands, just how long some of these interpersonal connections go back with the players.
Oh, 100%.
Across teams and across tiers.
It's intrinsic.
Kemp trying to manufacture something by coming down the ground. Almost yorked herself there and played over the top of it.
And it's something which Warwickshire and Worcestershire have done very well over the years. It's almost having those counties who can provide those additional players to the pathway. So Herefordshire, as we mentioned, have that link with Worcestershire. Shropshire, another one.
Lauren Atkinson yet to concede a run, and still yet to concede a run. Just defended to Williams at cover.
Staffordshire are another team which have provided quite a few players for both of those counties. So it is that the Midlands are very linked. And of course, for Northamptonshire, there's that big connection with Bedfordshire.
Yeah, lots of this Northants team came up through Bedfordshire in some way. Driven, lovely shot from Kemp. Down the ground, nails it that time, gets her timing right, and it pings away through cover, up the hill, races into the sponge. Or the rope, rather, isn't a sponge, and nestles at the bottom of that boundary board. 4 runs to ruin, rather, Lauren Atkinson's terrific figures, which up until that point had been none off 3 balls. What can Atkinson come back with? She'll come back with another one that beats Kemp outside off stump. End of the over, 4 runs off it. Northamptonshire after 2, 9 for 1, chasing 98.
Yeah, it's been a good start, this, hasn't it, for Herefordshire? Both Atkinson and Maund almost playing the foil for one another. I know Maund's the one who's got the wicket so far, but that is a tidy start from Atkinson herself. And again, it's one of those situations in the power play. Of course, a lot of people think, well, you just got to hit as many 4s and 6s as you possibly can. But there is a scenario here where 4 or 5 wickets were to fall early, suddenly 98 doesn't seem
We're into another Shropshire round 2 rescue act.
Correct.
Unsurprisingly, Amy Maund is going to continue after taking a wicket very first ball of the match and only conceding a few more runs off the remaining deliveries. First ball is driven into the covers. There is no run.
But you can see there is pronounced movement shaping back in. So it's just something for Clive and Kemp to be aware of.
Ava Clive with her big high backlift pushes this up to mid-on. And from the other end, Atkinson was getting the ball to move away from the right-hander. No shortage of genuine swing bowlers. We saw Emily Carpenter bowl an absolute hooping in-swingers, left armour over the wicket to the right-handers, and then get a couple to move away off the seam, including the one that got her the wicket, which was basically unplayable. Very, very lovely shot from Ava Clive. Down on one knee, full flourish of the bat over her shoulder, and away to the cover fence for 4.
Again, a very nice shot that, wasn't it, from Ava Clive. Races along those practice decks, and well, it's a valiant attempt to chase there by Lily Rupp, but again, we spoke about the nature of the outfield. It is lightning fast, even at this early stage of the season. tidy start this as well for Ava Clive herself.
Maund over pitch the previous delivery, gets her length right this time, and Clive pushes this to cover. But you can see why she's so highly rated and why she's making a Northampton debut at 17. There's a real simplicity and an easy flow to her batting, into her swing. It's very, very still at the crease. Seems to have a lot of time. Beaten by that one, though. Skips off the wicket. We've noted the pace and bounce, relatively speaking, in this wicket, and that one has discomforted Clive, hitting her in the stomach, I think. There is no run. Oh, no, lower than stomach. Almost extremely painful. Almost the extremely painfulest, to put it delicately. Last ball of the over from Maund. This one again, I think that one came back in again from Maund and almost cramped Clive for room. So one gorgeous extra cover drive and 5 dot balls. Northants after 3, 13 for 1.
Yeah, just looking back on this latest delivery as well, I mean, that did move significantly.
That's come back in from a 1.5 foot outside off stump to miss leg. That's a 60-odd mile-an-hour off break.
Well, it was pronounced. That was pronounced movement on that occasion. In the end, Clive's actually done well just to see that one out. But yeah, this is a very, very interesting power play, isn't it? It's a challenge. It's a difficult period to almost navigate here for Northamptonshire with the early movement on offer.
Early movement from Amelia Kemp, kind of coming down the wicket, trying to negate that swing from Lauren Atkinson. Again, beating outside off stump. We saw that a few times in the Atkinson's first over. Not as much swing on that occasion, but a little bit of shape away from the right-hander. There's no one out on the boundary, on the offside. Short ball, that's surely going to be a wide. No, not signalled by the square leg umpire. Oh, signalled by the standing umpire instead. Yeah, it looked as though that had gone over Amelia Kemp's head, and so it proved.
Yeah, I think the slight delay there was the fact that she did actually go to play it, but she's gone off her feet there. Was far too high on that occasion.
Bounce working against Lauren Atkinson on that occasion. Goes full, driven and dropped at point. Straight in, straight out. Squirted in the air from Kemp. Tried to open the face and get it into that gap at point. Picked out the fielder perfectly, and it went down. Fielding at backward point, you're not going to get too many simpler catching chances than that, I'm afraid to say. Nicely fielded at cover that time as Kemp tries to go through the offside again. Nice bit of tumbling work by Ellie Roberts. But that is an opportunity that Herefordshire would desperately want back. Defending only 98 on a very good wicket. Full toss, driven, 4. They did run the single. They needn't have bothered. Beautifully timed by Amelia Kemp through the extra cover region for 4.
Yeah, it's one of those where you can just stand and admire your work, isn't it, really? And there's only ever one outcome to that. Split the gap perfectly and, well, raced away down towards the Jackson Grundy for 4.
First poor ball that Atkinson has bowled. Little skip and hop at the start of her run up, and again beats the aggressive attempted drive of Amelia Kemp. I can completely understand what Northampton tried to do. We saw it from Marriott first ball. The only way that you're really going to get yourself into too much trouble in a relatively low chase on a good pitch is by being too cautious and taking the game too deep. If you can get off to a good start in the power play, you have all but won the game. But as you say, Herefordshire have bowled pretty well. That one's cut out to the deep point fielder, who unfortunately dropped that catch when Amelia Kemp was on 5. End of the over. Northants 18 for 1 after 4, chasing 98.
Just looking at the game down in Hove, I mean, there could have been a potential upset in the game between Sussex and Norfolk. Sussex, the home side on that occasion, bowled out for 83. In response, though, Norfolk are 2 for 1. So we'll keep you updated with regards to any further results. In fact, we have had another one in the game taking place at J&G Meakin, that in Stoke-on-Trent, where Cumbria have beaten Staffordshire by 31 runs.
Morn's going to continue. So much like Northamptonshire, Herefordshire keeping their opening bowlers going for longer than you might otherwise. This ball is driven up to mid-off. There is no run. Again, that movement back into the right-hander, discomforting Ava Clive. All she can do is keep it out. I believe it was Alana Swift at backward point who dropped that relatively simple catch. And when Amelia Kemp was on just 5. I see her there with her long blonde hair at backward point. Clive does well with that one because, again, it came into her pretty sharply and she manages to club it away crisply out to deep square leg for a single.
Looks as though we'll have a result in Denbigh sooner rather than later as well. Derbyshire cantering home to victory against Cheshire. The Falcons 58 for 1.
Interestingly set up in the game that will determine the winner of this match. I'll bring you that after this delivery from Amy Morn, which is driven very nicely by Amelia Kemp, but didn't quite time it as well as she thought. Put it this way, it didn't go as far. It wasn't as good a shot as it looked. Put it that way, it looked absolutely glorious, but no run. Yeah, Lincolnshire 43 for 3 in the 6th, chasing 131 to win that game and play the winner of this game between Northampton and Herefordshire. Morn continuing. This time, Kemp does find the gap and save your legs because, as we've been saying, once it gets over the first or second practice pitches, you have absolutely no chance of stopping it. Another boundary for Amelia Kemp takes her to 13.
Yeah, just beginning to settle into the innings a little bit more is Amelia Kemp now. Of course, not playing that usual role of the opening bat, but I mean, practically today she was coming in on the second delivery of the run chase. And you can just see there, not looking to overhit the cricket ball on that occasion, just guides it away, square the wicket for 4.
Lily Rutt's been put back on the cover fence. And that's, I think, where Amelia Kemp was trying to hit that ball. But again, beaten outside off stump. She's had the courage of her convictions, Amelia Kemp, despite a number of plays and misses. She's on 13 off 16, 3 boundaries in that. Ava Clive, 9 off 12 after 5 overs, chasing 98. Northants are 23 for 1.
Indeed, they are. Just looking at the run rate, shouldn't be anything too concerning as of yet. 5 runs required per over. 75 is the target from these remaining 15 overs for Northamptonshire to taste victory and advance through to the second round for the second consecutive season. So it will be Atkinson to continue from the Lynn Wilson centre end. Currently has those figures of none for 9 from her opening 2 overs of the game. And here she is bowling to Ava Clive. First one, genuine play and a miss.
That must be, what, 5 play and misses off her bowling in the 13 balls she's bowled? Still getting distinct swing away from the right-hander.
Yeah, it's arcing away, isn't it? And it's been 2 very different styles of bowlers. I think that's what I've liked so far from Herefordshire. It's that you've got one really getting that pronounced movement back in, whereas Atkinson's taking it away, looking to bring the likes of the slip and backward point into play.
It's a good sign for Herefordshire that you can have a slip in the 6th over.
Bit of innovation there from Ava Clive. Can't quite execute the shot on that occasion.
I'm all for it, but I'm not sure the reverse ramp, given that they've got the deep third in place, was necessarily the right option.
Yeah, it's one of those where you've just got to try and chip it over the top of slipping the keeper on that occasion. Yeah, let's wait and see what's in store for the next delivery. That one thumps into the pad. Jet off for the quick single. Smart running between Kemp and Clive. Northamptonshire now 24 for 1.
If you're being critical, I think you'd probably say Herefordshire didn't do quite enough to sneak quick singles. We didn't see that much urgency in their running, relatively speaking. Northampton did bowl well, but it is something that Northampton can
that is
better.
Absolutely majestic. I think that may have gone all the way for 6, just waiting on the umpire's signal. I think that went for 6.
I'm pretty sure I saw a splash of sand beyond the rope.
It has. It's been given as a 6. Well, that is dismissive from Amelia Kemp. Has timed that absolutely superbly. And that is a great way to move the Steelbacks into the 30s. How does Atkinson respond? Well, that one's short and it's beaten absolutely everything. Deceives Van der Werf. That'll go down as 4 by. So an excellent end to the over there for the Steelbacks. 10 runs from the final 2 deliveries, 11 in total from the over itself. And the home side now 34 for 1 at the end of the power play.
That last ball swung to the leg side after it passed the stumps. So Van der Werf was on the right line and then suddenly saw it veering away to her left. Awkward for a keeper. She'd probably still be annoyed that she didn't manage to get something in the way, but a bit disconcerting, especially when it's a bouncer coming at your face.
Certainly is. Change of bowling here then from the David Capel end. We'll see the captain, Chloe Tingle, come on to bowl here for the first time in this game.
And hello to Andrew Tingle, Chloe's brother, if you're still watching us with us on the stream.
Well, she does bowl right arm pace. I imagine Van der Werf will come up to the stumps. Indeed, she will. Helmet has been donned by the Dutch Youth International. Took 1 for 8 against Cambridgeshire in the competition last season. Of course, Herefordshire sadly not advancing through to the second round in 2025. But for Chloe, I mean, this is a really, really proud moment. Leading her home county. She's from Ross-on-Wye at one of the first-class grounds here in England. Here she is then, up first to Clive. Ava Clive, drop and run. Excellently timed and well placed for 1. But again, another one who's played for Brockhampton. Of course, has also played for her hometown of Ross-on-Wye as well. And what a moment this is. Always a feel-good story, isn't it? When you've got someone representing, captaining their home county in what's been a historic couple of seasons for Herefordshire. As Kemp just dabs that one down towards 3rd for 1.
Yeah, she was playing men's club cricket for Ross-on-Wye and women's for Brockhampton simultaneously. Chloe Tingle. It's a story you'll see a lot across Tier 2, is that sort of almost sort of training up by playing men's club cricket from a pretty young age.
That one's going to spin awkwardly. And that's gone for 4. Well, it's 4 runs that Ava Clive will certainly take.
Fielder at deep square leg didn't quite seem to know where the ball was for a second. She's sort of pirouetted that backwards through her legs onto the boundary. Lucy Barnett.
Slightly chipped up-ish, square of the wicket for 1. Yeah, Barnett, we haven't really spoken about Lucy as of yet, but she's also an international cricketer for the Isle of Man. Played a lot of club cricket on the Isle itself for the likes of Cronkbourne, Peel, Castletown, Ramsey, Finch Hill. Played quite a few times for the Isle of Man as that one squeezes off the inside edge. will be fielded by Cook for 1. It has been fascinating, just the growth of associate cricket since the change of the T20I system, of course. We're not seeing Lenny Sims here today because she's representing Italy on the international stage.
Against them, playing against Rwanda tomorrow.
Well, that one, again, it's going to spin this time much, much better in terms of the fielding there from Barnett. Read the spin expertly, so that will be just the single. End of the over from Chloe Tingle. So Northamptonshire 43 for 1 after 7 here at the county ground, and we'll have another change of bowling here from the Lynn Wilson centre end. It'll be Tina Goff, the experienced German international, coming on to bowl. Looking at the field here, deep backward square and deep forward mid-wicket are in place on the leg side, as well as a deep cover point. So Goff it will be, facing off first here against Ava Clive. She's on 16, Kemp on 21. Northamptonshire already almost halfway there to their target. So Goff it will be with the left arm orthodox. She just snuck through. Quick single will be taken. Williams has a shy at the non-striker's end. In Tina, actually in the coming weeks and coming months, for those who already know her broadcasting career, I think she's covering the Nordic Smash T20 from the comms box. So that will be very, very exciting. Did a lot with European cricket as well. Here she is bowling for Herefordshire. Someone sliced away by Amelia Kemp. That'll be 4. Races down towards the coffee van. Northants now really beginning to pick up plenty of momentum. The Steelbacks 48 for 1 here in the 8th over.
It was a pretty bold move not to have really anyone saving anything. In fact, behind square on the offside, we've seen already a couple of inevitably those edges backward of square are going to spin finer, but there's a huge gap between the keeper and backward point.
That was smart field placement on that occasion. Good adjustment. Similar region to where we just saw the previous boundary. Kemp this time just chops that one away. Square of the wicket for 1.
See a slightly awkward approach to the ball from the fielder at cover, because she's got to come down a pretty steep hill for 3 or 4 yards and then set herself again to actually attack the ball.
Well, she may be called into action. Good half stop there from Williams just to parry it around the corner. Ava Clive, though, jets off straight away. Good running between the Steelbacks pair, and that will be the team 50 up for Northamptonshire as they look to book their place in the second round of the Vitality T20 County Cup.
Which increasingly looks as though it's going to be against Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire. I'll bring you that at the end of the over.
This time it's Clive who just clubs that away. Sweeper is out there in the form of Cook, and Cook will pick it up and limit it to 2. That'll be the end of the over. A fruitful one for Northamptonshire. In the end, it goes for 10. The home side 53 for 1. What's the situation in Dunstable?
Yeah, so chasing 131, Lincolnshire, having got off to a reasonable start, are now 70 for 5 after 12. Grace Tarling doing the bulk of the damage with 2 for 17 off her 3 overs for Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire.
Well, that'd be an interesting fixture, wouldn't it? Very much a local derby, that, between neighbouring counties.
A fair bit of reunion going on, given what we were talking about earlier about how many this North End setup have come through Bedfordshire.
That one will be a dot ball first up from Chloe Tingle. Yeah, it's a link that goes very deep in both men's and women's cricket. I mean, it was bound to happen, really, of course. The fact is the counties are so close together. The same goes for Buckinghamshire and, of course, Huntingdonshire as well. Kemp again can't quite work that away. Anything more than a dot ball.
Kemp herself started off Bedfordshire Juniors before moving up to Hertfordshire.
That's a good take from Van der Werf. Tingle there looking to just induce the outside edge, and a little bit of conversation taking place there between Ava Clive and the aforementioned Kemp. Quick bump of the gloves and quick chat. That one has been spliced away, will evade the fielder. And that one will go for 4 runs down towards our position here in the comms box. Amelia Kemp now moving into the 30s, and Northamptonshire inching ever closer to their target of 98.
A semi-deliberate edge from Amelia Kemp. She was definitely trying to hit that square, maybe not quite that square, but the good, thick, hard-hit edge is always of great value. Given the width to work with, to be in fairness, from Tingle.
It's a good response, though, from the Herefordshire captain. Yeah, just looking back at the previous boundary from Kemp, did just enough to work it over the top of the fielder. This one again just pushed forward on the offside for 1 there by Kemp. That'll be a single to round out the 9th over. Northamptonshire 58 for 1. They require 40 further runs for the victory from the remaining 11 overs.
Give you some other scores from the games that are currently ongoing. We mentioned how impressive Middlesex were, making 184 for 5. Kent, in reply, 73 for 6. So that one seemingly only going one way at Radlett. Derbyshire through to the next round. They bowled out Cheshire for 76 and chased it down for the loss of only 3 wickets. And Leicestershire closing in on victory at home to Shropshire. They bowled Shropshire for 81. They're 60 for 2.
Plenty of flight on that one from Goff. That one is aerial, catching opportunity. It just falls short of the onrushing fielder. In the end, I believe that'll just be a single taken. It was Amy Maund out there at deep cover. Just didn't have enough on that occasion. It's Clive this time. Can't quite get it to the left there of Georgie Williams. I'm absolutely fascinated to know what the situation is down in Hove.
Yeah, we could have a story here. So Norfolk bowled Sussex off 83, and in the 10th over, they're 34 for 2. Could be a shock down at good old Sussex by the Sea.
Could be. That's a good tumbling stop from Williams, but even better running between Kemp and Clive.
That's the standard we hear coming through our effects, Mike. Rightly so.
Oh, she's had a great game as Georgie Williams. It's that one on the reverse. Will it beat the dive of the fielder? Yes, it will. An air of enterprise and innovation. As that one will go for 4 more runs. Excellent work there from Amelia Kemp.
Full-on switch hit, switched her feet and her hands, and got that away very, very nicely, beating the dive of backward point.
That one more testing for Kemp. Dot ball it will be. One final delivery remains in this, the 10th over of the run chase. Northamptonshire very nicely placed indeed. Kemp looks to carve that one away. 2 fielders converge, and That'll just be a single to round out the over. So 7 runs come from the 10th. Northamptonshire 65 for 1. And they are motoring along towards their target of 98.
To add to the air of absolutely bucolic loveliness, I can hear a brass band coming through the effects mic.
Yeah, so that'll be coming from Abington Park, which is just around the corner from the ground. We get all sorts here at Northamptonshire with that. I mean, we had, I think, an ABBA tribute band for the Lancashire game. Had Queen for the Middlesex one.
Chloe Tingle going to continue. Herefordshire captain. Oh dear. An attempted drive from Amelia Kemp off the thick inside edge and off the thick outside edge of the knee of the fielder at mid-on. It dribbles away and they manage to get a somewhat unlikely single. It's one of those when you're out there on the field, you can hear it come off the leg. Lovely shot from Clive down into the paddle very early. There's no one back at fine leg. She didn't quite get all of it, and it will be cut off by the fielder coming back. Tilly Cook round from short third. But we didn't see any of that at all during the Herefordshire innings, and we've any attempts at unorthodoxy, and we've saw Clive an attempted reverse paddle. She got the paddle away there. We saw the switch it in the last over from Amelia Kemp. These two enjoying themselves. Short nearly takes off the head of the square leg umpire. It's well stopped by the fielder at a deep square leg. They come through 4-2. Lovely sound off the bat again from Clive, seizing on that shorter ball from Tingle. 28 more to win for Northampton to take them through to round 2. Tingle trying to, at the very least, slow Northants down. Draws a drive again from Clive up to mid-off. Sweepers out on the offside and the leg side as Kemp seizes very, very quickly on that. Sorry, Clive seizes very, very quickly on that shortish ball outside off stump. She was into position so quickly to pull that around fine backward a square and move on to 30. She had all the time in the world to play that.
Yeah, premeditated, wasn't it? From Ava Clive on that occasion. Just moving early outside the off stump and whacks it away.
That's what you call picking your gap. Last ball of the over. Driven aerially, but into the gap because the cover sweeper is back. Lily Rutt come through for a single. 10 runs off that over from Chloe Tingle. None for 24 of her 3. Ava Clive's on 30 on her Northants debut. Amelia Kemp on 38. Northants 75 for 1.
I believe we're going to have a change of bowling here as well from the Lynn Wilson centre end. So Tina Goff will be taken out of the attack and on in her place will be Lucy Barnett. So slight change in approach here with regards to the bowling attack.
Lucy Barnett not had the best day so far. Made only 1 before giving up a simple catch off Ella Phillips and has had a couple of missed fields as well. What can she do with her right arm spin? Swept first ball out to deep square leg. A single for Ava Clive, moves to 32. Barnett in, bowling her finger spin. Almost 2 arm balls to start with. Not too much side spin. Deep square leg and deep mid wicket and deep long on, all in place. Nearly picks out the first of those. Does Amelia Kemp with the sweep. Hops 1 bounce out to Rutt at deep square leg. They come through for another single. There's also a deep cover out on the offside. Tidy start. Clive down into the paddle sweep again. Yawning gap at fine leg, which Rutt has to run round a good 30 yards to her right to cover, and an easy 2. Lovely placement from Clive, not just using those paddles to hit boundaries, but to pick gaps in the field. .34, not out she is, better than a runner ball. Down the ground, dropped at mid-off, parried by the fielder at mid-off. It was hit pretty hard, but got 2 hands to it, did Ellie Roberts at mid-off, and just parried it round the post. Amelia Kemp was dropped on 5. Ava Clive's been dropped on 34. And you couldn't play a reverse sweep any finer from Amelia Kemp. The bat described almost a 360 round her body. Very fine through where slip would have been 4-2. With the dropped catch of Lucy Barnett, not making her day any better. Her first over goes for 7. And after 12, Northants are 82 for 1 in place of 98 to make it through to round 2 of the County Cup for the 2nd year running.
Yeah, just 16 runs away from what would be a deserved victory. But again, full credit to Herefordshire here today. They've battled away. It's not been a ridiculously one-sided affair, which has been basically over in 7 to 10 overs. So the fact is there's a lot of work to do. Of course there is. The fact is they're in their 2nd year as a team, but there have definitely been some bright spots from today. Georgie Williams, I mean, what a fantastic knock that was earlier. Amy Maundens, Lauren Atkinson as well, setting the standard early doors. Certainly a good foundation to build off of heading into the remainder of the Tier 3 competitions.
Change of bowling. Tilly Cook going to bowl her first ball of the day. Starts with a wide outside off stump. Tall figure coming in from the David Capel end, right arm over the wicket.
Yeah, she's another one, product of Worcestershire. Has played for Old Elizabethans and now plays for Pershore.
Van der Werf up to the stumps. Short ball and cut away by Clive. Adjusted her feet well there to make sure that she made good contact with that. Gets it out well in front of the square to Rutt. Very, very heavily occupied on that cover boundary. 14 to win. And a point of only secondary interest, probably only time for one of these two to get a half century. And Amelia Kemp is determined it's going to be her as she cuts this over the top of the fielders, backward a square, backward point and short third, could only watch as it went away to the fence. Amelia Kemp on to 44. Too short, too wide, cut away for 4 with very little trouble by Amelia Kemp, who started off actually quite slowly, but once she found her rhythm, Herefordshire simply haven't been able to stop her.
No, there's been a variety of scoring shots as well. It's not as though it's only been square of the wicket or through the covers. Really has scored well around the ground so far, and case in point, tickles that one very fine. There's a long chase on for the fielder. I believe that will just be 2 more runs. Moves at 3 away from what would be a well-deserved half century. But yeah, it's been an innings of class and innovation, hasn't it? From both of these, actually. We've seen the paddles and the reverses.
And courage as well, in a sense, from Kemp. There were a lot of play and misses early on, and she got dropped on 5, but she's backed herself throughout. 1 hit away from a half century, and that is going to be it. That is cut away for 4. And Amelia Kemp of 41 balls goes to a half century. 51 off those 41 balls. Very, very impressive innings from her at the top of the order. 8 fours and 1 6 in that half century. Her first half century of the season after coming in at number 3 after the loss of Gemma Marriott. Very first ball of the innings. She and Ava Clive have ensured almost certainly that Northamptonshire are going to be in round 2. The next one is back of a length and guided fine. It's going to be a chase for the fielder at short third. Is she going to make it? Very well done. Very well done indeed from the fielder, chasing back towards the fence. Alana Swift, she it was who dropped that catch actually earlier off Amelia Kemp, right down in front of our commentary box at the Lynn Williams end. She manages to haul that in and keep them to... They run 3 in the end. They did run 3.
It was 3, so 1 hit away now, Northamptonshire, from winning the game and booking their place in the second round. And, well, this could be it. They'll scamper through for the single. And Northamptonshire have beaten Herefordshire by 9 wickets in round 1 of the 2026 Vitality T20 County Cup. It is a perfect start for David Ripley's side. Ava Clive and Amelia Kemp doing the damage. And in the end, the Steelbacks just too hot to handle for the Tier 3 side. An excellent win for the home team. They make it 2 wins out of 2 here at Wantage Road across competitions to kickstart the season. And well, Knuckle, really from start to finish, that was a clinical display, wasn't it, from Northants?
We used the term set the tone a few times for that opening spell from Emily Carpenter and from Ella Phillips. They really didn't give Herefordshire a sniff early on, and it was only that terrific innings from Georgie Williams that really gave Herefordshire anything even vaguely defendable. Really, apart from Liz Russell, who didn't bowl badly, she just bowled okay, certainly by her standards. Really, all of the rest of the Northants bowlers were terrific. Ella Phillips, I thought, was excellent up the top of the order. Anisha Patel through the middle as well. And even Gemma Marriott bringing herself on for the final over and only managing to go for 3, which is not to be sniffed at in the final over of a T20. Couple of drop catches, that'll be something that David Ripley and the coaching staff and the captain won't be overly happy about. The ground fielding was good, and the very, very clear approach with the bat, even Gemma Marriott getting out first ball, choosing to be aggressive. There was a clear idea of how they wanted to play. Ava Clive showed why she is in this team, even at the age of 17. Very, very impressive and composed debut. She looks like a batter who has a lot of time. She looks like a batter who not only has a lot of shots, but knows when to use them. She finishes 37, not out off 35 balls. And Amelia Kemp, continuing her good work from last season, 54 not out of 42 balls for her. The only wicket going to Amy Maund, who had Gemma Marriott caught off the very first ball over the game. Really, all in all, a pretty comprehensive performance from Northampton. You know, a few notes, as we were saying, with some of the catching, but other than that, a very, very good day at the office.
Certainly was. Of course, we don't know the opposition just yet. The game between Lincolnshire and Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire is still going on. So we'll have to wait and see with regards to who that Tier 2 opponent will be, or the Tier 3 opponent, actually, from that game. Both those sides in the 3rd tier. But we shall have to wait and see. What we do know for certain, though, Northamptonshire have booked their place in the next round of the 2026 T20 County Cup. So on behalf of myself, Aaron Viles, and Knuckle Pandey here in the commentary box, as well as everybody on the stream here at the Northamptonshire Cricket Club YouTube channel, we thank you very much for your company for today's game, and we wish you all a very safe and enjoyable end to the rest of your Sunday.